giờ hãy cùng mình đến với phần thứ hai của buổi meeting ngày hôm nay. Đó là phần diễn thuyết. Và ở trong phần này chúng ta sẽ có các speaker. Họ sẽ trình bày một bài nói đã được chuẩn bị trước đó trong khoảng thời gian từ 5 đến 7 phút. Vậy mục đích của phần diễn thuyết này là gì? Thì phần này sẽ giúp cho các speaker của chúng ta có cơ hội được luyện tập và phát triển khả năng diễn thuyết trước đám đông. Và trước khi các speaker lên sân khấu thì MC sẽ mời những người đánh giá nêu ra những tiêu chí mà các speaker muốn được trình bày muốn được chú trọng trong phần trình bày ngày hôm nay. Xin mời Toastmaster Tina.
Thank you, Toastmaster Huy. And we will continue with the second session of today's meeting is prepared speech. And I would like to invite two speakers today. The first speaker is a really experienced Toastmaster. It's been a while since his last participation in the Toastmaster meeting. That is Toastmaster Thong Phan. And evaluator of Toastmaster Thong Phan is Toastmaster Quynh Hướng. Please come to the screen and present the objectives that Toastmaster Thong Phan wants you to evaluate.
Hello, it's me again. Today I will be evaluating Toastmaster Thong Phan, and his objective for this speech is to improve the connection with the audience and how to have an effective speech delivery as well as speech writing. And he asked me to focus on two things. First is the topic, whether it is adaptable to the audience, and second is his clarity of the speech. And I can't wait to see Toastmaster Thong Phan's speech. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Quynh Hướng. And without further ado, please gather our hands to welcome our first speaker today, Toastmaster Thong Phan. Fix our psychological inflexibility. Fix our psychological inflexibility, Toastmaster Thong Phan.
Okay, I want to check some technical problems. You guys all see the screen?
Yes, clearly.
Thank you. Let me begin. Fix our psychological inflexibility. The times are changing far faster than they were ever before. So that requires a new way of thinking, flexible thinking, of psychological flexibility. Okay, what is psychological inflexibility and psychological flexibility? Don't ever interfere it with personality. These are two different stories. Here, look at the screen. I want to tell you to be learning to be more flexible in the future. That doesn't relate to an unstable personality. Because flexibility is the ability to really adjust your actions, your thoughts, your feelings to the circumstances you find yourself in. Our personality is still there and we need to treasure it, but we need to adapt to the changing circumstances. To become psychologically flexible in more than just addressing personality. Is addressing the way that we really relate to ourselves. Why? Because situations change and we need to behave in the most functional way to benefit us and then to achieve our goals. Now it makes some sense, but when it makes perfect sense for you, I want you to play a test with me. This is the well-proven test to measure our flexibility, right? Now you guys all unmute yourself, please. Thank you. Unmute yourself, and I'll give you a sequence of words. You tell me the color of the word. Unmute yourself or unmute yourself all. Okay. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear?
The color of the word. So what is the color of the word?
Red.
Red.
Blue.
Red.
Blue.
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 Red. Green.
Yellow.
Red.
Oh,
Yellow.
yellow. Green. Oh my God.
Blue.
Slowly.
Pink.
Too fast. Slow.
Yeah. Stop. Despacito, Despacito, baby.
I have to be the flash to
It's
do
challenging
this.
for me at first. It's an interesting for challenging for me. It's still hard for me right now. And it is a very easy way to measure our flexibility. And what is the science behind it? The idea behind it is that we have to, in order to really state the right color, we have to switch between different pieces of information. And what happens is that when we scan the word, the automatic processes of reading the word interfere with our ability to really state the color of the word. And the test tells us that the more difficult we find in this game, the less cognitively flexible we are. And now I want to use it in real life and how we could adapt to the real life, because we tell ourselves that we don't need to read the word, to read the color, but the process of reading the word that destroy our process, and it happened in all aspects of life. And I want to give you some tips to fix that. That is the two things. Really understand, listen to ourselves, and we have to know that we live in such a resourceful life. Today, I think that I'm quite happy to have a group of dynamic Toastmaster, incredible experience from Mr. Antonio to the newbie LUYện, just to name a few. But we all know that when we pour our heart and soul to a meeting and we plan for every single thing detailedly, wisely, meticulously, but something unexpected happened and it destroyed everything, ruined everything. And at the time that we were irritated and we don't know, we panic, we don't know how to fix the problem. And then when we get older, we increase, we enhance our level of understanding, and we forgive this one, and we forgive this one. But I tell you what, in this specific presentation, I won't tell you about understanding and forgiveness, and because understanding and forgiveness, well, won't we give us a solution? I want to give you a solution to fix the problem quickly as we can, because we need to do that at a time. Fortunately, there are ways. We live in a world which is so resourceful. We could fix that. Don't let our emotion at the time that we panic, kill our mind and to make, to kill all our cognitive thinking. Number one tip of mine, there are loads of ways, but number one tip of mine is to pick an idea that you don't believe in. I call it the idea of the day. Pick an idea that you don't believe in and try to convince yourself that it is true. It is quite hard, and this is quite ridiculous. And try to convince yourself it is true. Don't just scratch the surface. Think about it seriously. Think about it hard. Think about it hard. It's hard for you at the beginning. Pick an idea from the person that you respect, but you don't believe in that idea, and try to convince yourself that it's true, the one that you respect. Number one tip. Number two is dwell on your wrongs. When we're wrong, we try to forget it well. We try to forget it. And that really relates to our cognitive biases. The smarter we are, the bigger our knowledge is, the bigger our cognitive bias are. And that is a problem. And one of the biggest barriers of psychological flexibility is that we often think that we are right. And that for that exercise for us to think about the moment that we are wrong, the longer it is, the better it will give you. Because eventually we will come up with the idea of that we are not always right, or we could actually be wrong at the time. Okay. Number 3 is it's a fun one. Try new food. After the meeting, just go to your familiar restaurant. But I give you another recommendation to go to the restaurant that you wouldn't normally go to. Okay. Or go to this restaurant that you love, but order the dish, the least popular dish. Order the least popular dish. Don't order the most popular one. And research shows that when we really stretch ourselves to varied experiences, we will have increased our creativity. And number 4 is talk to strangers. Our parents tell us that don't talk to strangers, but I tell you that do talk to strangers. The more you are exposed to different ideas, different thoughts, the broader your flexible thinking would be. Okay. And I have a mnemonic for you. This is called thongs. What the F is mnemonic. Okay. W stands for wrongs. The well on your wrongs. T stands for talk. F stands for food. And E stands for idea. And look at this way. I love you to remember that wrongs, talk, food, and ideas. Okay. So it comes to an end. So there is really deep lesson here. I'm so afraid to running out of time. So I go a bit quickly. Sorry. So there's a really deep lesson here. Like we could really not be the passive recipient of whatever the world gives us. We could change it, we could be more active and try to take every opportunity to really, get yourself exposed to different people, to different ideas. Maybe it is the people that you don't like, maybe it is the ideas that you don't love. It may get you crabby at the moment, but in the long run, this is a really good investment. Spending your time cultivating for new experience and for writing for new information. It's a very investment in maintaining a flexible brain. If we could all do that following some of my tips, we could make a more harmonious and curious society and team, which ultimately is the biggest win of all. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
Healing.
Tiếp theo chương trình thì chúng ta sẽ đến với phần thứ 3 của buổi meeting ngày hôm nay, được gọi là phần đánh giá. Ở trong phần này thì tất cả mọi người và đặc biệt là các speaker sẽ có cơ hội để được nghe những phản hồi góp ý đến những góp ý khách quan nhất đến từ đội đánh giá. Và mục đích của phần này là để giúp cho các speaker nhận được những phản hồi, nhận được những điểm tốt cũng như là những điểm cần phải cải thiện để phát triển hơn trong những lần tiếp theo. Và trong phần này thì MC sẽ nhường lại sân khấu cho người đánh giá chung.
The board, I would like to call to the screen our first evaluator, Toastmaster Quỳnh Hương, who will evaluate for Toastmaster Thống Phàng. Please welcome Toastmaster Quỳnh Hương.
Let me ask you questions. What is this? WTF is. What's that? You still remember? Food, talk, ideas, strange, or anything? Work? What's the break? Okay, the first W is wrong. It's dwell on your wrongs. The T is for talk to stranger. The F is try new food. And the I, pick ideas you don't believe. You can think of it that way, or I can think of it as, wow, that's fun. In the first few seconds of Toastmaster Thong Phang's speech, I was hooked by his fancy British accent and his adorable face and his humor as always. This guy, he never fails to amaze me, and today is no different. I can say that I would like to commend his structure. You see, he presents the problem and the context with an interesting game, very interactive, with the changing colors, and it's capture our attention right away. And then he present the context of the changing world, the problems, and then give us 4 tips how to adapt, how to be flexible in that changing world. It's such a clever way to present the problem and put on the solution. So I would say it's so smart. And at the end, he has a summary with a mnemonic technique and a call to action. So it might be something that you wouldn't do right away, but at least you have a second thought on. It's clear as day. The structure is clear as day. It's very interactive. And I can say that it met his objective. The second thing I would like to praise is his choosing of topic. This topic is quite unexpected to us, right? But it's so near and dear to us. Psychological flexibility is particularly helpful when we are living in the midst of chaos. We need to have that kind of flexibility to adapt to the changes. And will we be able to say yes to the no? Are we willing to change for the better? So that was, I was speechless after listening to his speech. But how to make it from good to great? So as Toastmaster Thong Phang always said, there's no bigger room than the room for improvement. And the first thing I would like to change for the better is, as a teacher, I feel like when he provides the tips, it lack a little bit of example. Maybe he could have been show his personal example of how to use the 4 tips instead of just saying what the tips are. And the second thing is, along the speech, I was kind of worried if all the audience can understand your speech, because it's kind of filled with complex language. So even though I'm an English teacher, I feel it's a little bit hard to understand. So for example, when you say dwell on your wrongs, you can say emphasize on your wrongs. Or passive recipient, you can say when you receive something in a passive way. Or the ability to state the color out loud, you can say the ability to say the color out loud. So just make a few changes to the language you use, and to in order to reach as many audience as possible. Okay, so next time try to make it easy, but not to sacrifice the meaning of their message. Okay, so overall, the whole speech was informative but very engaging, and I can say that the impact you make can be emotional and intellectual at the same time. And I can't wait to see your next speech. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Quỳnh Hương. Congrats for your very valuable feedback for Toastmaster Thong Phang. Now we come